What's up, y'all? So it appears that Trey Lance at this point is officially a bust. The 49ers have just announced that Sam Darnold has taken their backup spot and that Trey Lance has lost the backup QB competition. And at this stage, it appears he's just a bust. I mean, he's not shown up to practice after this has been announced. And it appears like we're just heading towards a trade of Trey Lance as soon as possible. Now, the reasons for this are complicated, and I made a video breaking it down called Trey Lance is Done that I put out 9 or 10 days ago. You can watch that video if you want a full, very detailed breakdown on how this whole situation's gone down, but, I'm just going to give you the cliff notes here, essentially. Number one, he's barely played at any level. He's barely played in high school, college, or the NFL, and at the NFL level, when he has played, even in preseason, he's not been very good. I mean, look at the Raiders preseason game that happened a couple weeks ago. And then the 49ers, by taking him, missed out on a massive amount of talent. They took him over guys like Patrick Surtain, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons, Devonta Smith. So they've passed on incredible talent to take him. And at this point, he's looking to be one of the worst NFL draft busts of all time. There still is some hope for him, because he hasn't really gotten an opportunity in the NFL to start in the regular season and play games. So I think someone will trade for him. And we're going to break down who I think he's likely to be traded to. So I think ultimately the best the 49ers are going to get out of a team for Trey Lance is, at best, a second-round pick from an incredibly desperate team, but more likely a third or fourth-round pick. It'll probably be a conditional pick where if he plays and plays well for them, the 49ers will get more. But, I can't imagine they're going to be too heavily compensated for him. One team that there's definitely a shot of him going to is the Falcons. Atlanta, their quarterback situation is Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke, which is not great. So I think Trey Lance would definitely be in competition to start there. Arthur Smith's scheme is somewhat similar to Kyle Shanahan's scheme, so he would at least have some familiarity with the offense, and the weaponry there is pretty decent enough for him to probably succeed. So I think there is a chance of that happening. And then also I think Tampa Bay has a pretty decent chance of trading for him. They've just named Baker Mayfield their starting quarterback, but that's obviously not ideal. I mean, no one wants Baker Mayfield as your number one starting quarterback, and the other options on the team are Kyle Trask and then injured John Wolford. So I think it definitely would make sense for them to send a second or third round pick to the 49ers and just see what he has. And at worst, it just makes your draft position better and gives you a better shot at Caleb Williams or Drake May in the upcoming draft. And then I think the Vikings have probably the best shot of any of these teams to trade for him, just because they really don't have much of a development plan after Kirk Cousins. And Kirk is getting older. I think he's 34 or 35. And they don't really have anyone in development. I mean, they passed on Will Levis and Hendon Hooker in this draft who could have done that for them. And they did take Jaron Hall in the 5th or 6th round, but at the same time, that's a pretty minimal investment. So I think that Minnesota is definitely in the market for Trey Lance and probably is the most likely team to go get him. And then the Denver Broncos, I think, do have some shot at it. I mean, they just saw him play against them in preseason. Russell Wilson had some complimentary words about him. And they definitely could use some competition behind Russell Wilson in case Wilson is as bad as he was last year, because Jarrett Stidham's currently their number one backup, and that's just not really going to cut it. So I think Sean Payton would definitely be smart to bring him in. And then I think the last team that has some chance, and this one I don't really think is all that likely, but I think there's 1% chance of this happening, is the Patriots. Bill Belichick's never really shown all that much confidence in Mac Jones, especially last year with benching him for Bailey Zappi. And them splitting time in games. So I think it is definitely possible that they bring in Trey Lance, but at the same time, they do have Mac Jones, who's been solid. They do have Bailey Zappi, who's also been solid, and also Malik Cunningham has looked very good in preseason in his time playing. So I don't think it's all that likely that he ends up in New England, but it is a possibility. Yeah, and that is all. So thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe if you want to. Comment any thoughts that you have about my takes here. Yeah, and thank you for watching.